Hi, everyone. I'm a 35-year-old man who needs some advice here. My wife and I have been married for 6 years. We've had a pretty stable life. No kids. We both have decent jobs. We own a house, share mutual friends, and there haven't really been any major conflicts. Not until now. Last weekend, my wife brought up a topic that completely threw me off balance. She said she wanted an open relationship. It really came as a shock. We've never talked about anything like this before. Sure, we've had our ups and downs, but never to the point where we'd consider seeing other people. I asked what made her even think about it, and she said she felt bored, that life was running on routine, and that she wanted to explore other people without that meaning we'd stop loving each other. I asked if it was dating she wanted, but she said she wanted the freedom to sleep with whoever she wanted. I was completely stunned. I don't like the idea at all. To me, our marriage is based on fidelity. I made it very clear that I don't want an open relationship. She got irritated and said I was narrow-minded. I replied that I don't think it's narrow-minded to want to keep our marriage monogamous, especially since we've never discussed alternatives before. She argued against me, but I stood my ground. I thought we'd reach some sort of stalemate. But last night she came home and informed me that on Friday she's going out on a date with a guy from work. She said she was going to spend the night with him at a hotel. I said, if you do this, if you go out and sleep with someone else, then I'm filing for divorce. She just laughed at me and said I was overreacting, that I wouldn't dare. She seemed totally unfazed, as if she expected me to just accept this. I feel totally steamrolled. I love my wife, but this goes against everything I stand for. I can't imagine watching her go have sex with another man and then come back to me as if nothing happened. Am I crazy for drawing this ultimatum? I don't know what to do if she actually goes through with this. I don't want to lose my marriage, but I can't live like this either. Has anyone experienced anything similar? How should I handle this? Also, she already had someone lined up. It wasn't just a thought. She already arranged a date with a man. I need advice. Thanks in advance. Update 1. Hi again, and thank you so much for all the responses I've gotten so far. I really appreciate that you took the time to comment. Many of you say I should stand my ground, not give in. Some suggest that I clarify my boundaries even more, maybe even contact a lawyer right now. Others say I should try to make her understand the seriousness, maybe by showing that I really am prepared to go our separate ways if she goes through with her plan. I spoke to her again last night. She stands by her decision. She even joked that it's her right to have some fun, as if our marriage was some kind of formality and not a promise of exclusivity. I tried to explain that if she does this, I see no future for us. She shrugged and said, "Do what you have to." Friday is getting closer. I feel nervous, almost sick to my stomach. I've tried to tell her that if she goes out with this guy, I know who he is, a colleague from her work, and then spends the night with him, then it's over for me. She just said, "We can talk about it when I come home on Saturday." I don't know if she's playing some kind of power game or if she truly no longer cares about our marriage. I thank you for all the feedback so far. Some of you have suggested contacting a divorce lawyer in advance, just to be prepared. I'm actually considering it. I'll update you when I know more. Thanks again. Update 2. Hi again, and thanks for even more comments and tips. You have all been very supportive, and I really appreciate the advice. Several of you have told me to document everything, to be ready with evidence of her intentions if needed. Others say I should pack my things already, or at least mentally prepare to leave her. A lot of you say that if she really does this, it's a clear sign that she doesn't respect me or our marriage. It's now Friday afternoon. She just took a shower and said she's going to get ready for her date. I asked her one last time, "Are you serious about this? Do you understand what it means if you go off with him?" She barely looked at me and just said, "I've already booked the hotel room. I'll be home tomorrow morning." It felt like a punch to the gut. I reminded her of my position. If you go, I'm going through with the divorce. She chuckled, rolled her eyes, and said, "Sure, we'll see." She just walked out the door with a small weekend bag. It's surreal. I'm sitting here feeling completely empty. I don't know if I should cry, scream, or just pack my things. I've already looked up the number to a lawyer. I plan to call on Monday if she really stays away tonight. Right now, I'm leaning towards her actually doing it. I'll update you when I know more, probably tomorrow. Update 3. I took the opportunity to move all my things into the guest room during the night. I never want to sleep in that bed with her again. We'll see what happens when she notices my things are gone. The night was awful. I felt terrible and couldn't sleep. Sleeping on a lumpy mattress in the guest room didn't help. It's now 9 on Saturday morning. She came home an hour ago. I met her in the hallway, but didn't say anything. She smiled and looked like she was going to say something, but changed her mind. I made some coffee and a sandwich, then went into my study and closed the door. I can't look at her anymore. I feel shocked at her nonchalance. She doesn't understand the gravity of the situation. She acts as if nothing happened, as if she hasn't been worn out by another man, and despite me repeatedly stating I will leave her if she goes through with it, she pretends I'm not serious at all. She noticed my stuff in the bedroom was gone and came downstairs asking why. I said I will never sleep next to her again. I can't stand the sight of her. And who knows what diseases she might have brought home because you didn't use protection, right? I got no answer except a slight blush and a turned-away face. That told me everything I needed to know. I slammed the door shut. I called my best friend. I plan to meet him and talk to get some support in this situation. Update 4. I talked to my best friend, R, last night. R was shocked, but also furious on my behalf. He thinks I should act quickly and not give her any time to weasel out of it. It's Sunday now. We didn't talk much yesterday. She tried to start a conversation with me, but it's not easy when I respond with single words like yes, no, maybe, and uh-huh. She seemed insecure about that. Maybe now it's finally sinking in? I've taken your advice and looked into how the divorce process works. We have no children, so it should go relatively smoothly. The house is joint property, of course, so we'll have to figure that out. Some of you suggested I contact a realtor for a valuation. I'm going to wait until I've talked to the lawyer, but I'm ready. Right now, I'm not sure I can stand sleeping at home. The whole house makes me feel bad. Everything reminds me of her, and she reminds me of betrayal and an anxiety-filled night I never want to experience again. I'm torn about seeing a lawyer, but what can I do? If I don't leave her, I'll hate myself. Update 5. I've now talked to a lawyer. The lawyer was understanding and straightforward. She said that if my wife insists on breaking our monogamy and opening up the relationship unilaterally, it's not strange that I'd file for divorce. This isn't legally complicated, but it's emotionally tough. The lawyer advised me to be clear and not let myself be talked into any compromises I don't support. She'll start the paperwork right away. It shouldn't take more than a few days. She said I have the right to stay in the house during this period. But many people don't have the energy for that. If I look for an apartment and use money from our joint account, she'll have to share the costs until we separate our assets. I decided not to tell her about the lawyer, mainly because I don't have the strength to discuss it, if there's even a discussion to be had. She talked on the phone today. It sounded like one of her friends. She seemed upset, but I couldn't hear what they said. Afterwards, she tried to talk to me, but I said I didn't want to. She wouldn't give up and sat down next to me, launching into a long monologue. She said it wasn't that bad, it was just one night, and wondered if I was going to keep this childish act up for long. She also said I should move back into the bedroom. When I heard that request, I got up without a word and went into the guest room and slammed the door. I hope the paperwork is ready soon. Being in this house is torture, and being married to this person is even worse. Sure, she's more insecure about me now, but she doesn't seem to reflect on how deeply she hurt me. Tomorrow, I'm going to look at an apartment I found. Perfect location relative to my job, just the right size, and good price. Update 6. I filed for divorce today. The process has started. I feel sadness but also relief. It's hard to explain. I never thought I'd end up in this situation, but here I am, trying to make the best of it. The apartment I checked out was perfect, and I signed the papers this morning. I drove straight home and, with the help of 2 friends, took the bed and some basic furniture like dressers, chairs, and a few other things, just enough to get by until I can go buy new stuff. She was at work, so I could work undisturbed. And then, when I left the house, I put the divorce papers on the kitchen counter, along with my wedding ring. My phone exploded around 5:30 this evening. That's when she must have come home and seen everything. At first it was messages like, "Where are you? Come home so we can talk." Then, "I know it was stupid to go to him on Friday. You've made your point." When I didn't respond, she started calling. And when I didn't answer that either, the messages got nasty. She said I was a bastard, a worthless husband, and terrible in bed. That Friday was the first night in years she'd felt like a woman. Then she said she'd go over to him right now to get another round. I wonder where my wife went in all this. This sounds like her evil twin. My apartment is empty and bare, and I feel so lonely here. I called my childhood friend, and he came over with a few of our mutual friends. They took me out for a meal. I turned off my phone. I couldn't handle the constant messages and calls. It was good to get out and be with friends, to not think about everything. But sooner or later you're alone, and then it all comes back. Now, I'll try to get some sleep. Update 7. I turned my phone on again this morning. Messages came pouring in, about 80 of them. I haven't read through them. I doubt it would make me feel better. I changed my status to divorced on Facebook. Man, did that stir things up. I've had relatives and friends calling all morning, but it was just as well to get it over with. Technically, I'm not divorced yet, but it's only a matter of time, and I thought it was a good way to let people know without having to call everyone individually. When my wife discovered it, a new wave of texts came, many containing some very unholy words. But this way, I had the chance to tell my side of the story first, making it harder for her to cook up some lie afterward. You remember I said I heard her talking on the phone and she sounded upset? It was one of her childhood friends, C. She'd called C for support after I stopped talking to her. When she explained what she'd done, C basically called her the dumbest person north of the equator and lectured her on what it means to be someone's wife. C didn't think their friendship would survive. C called me to see how I was doing. She and I have never talked much. We've had barbecues at home, and she and her husband came over. Usually, I hung out more with her husband. It actually warmed my heart that she called. But I still spent half the night crying and the other half swearing. When I finally fell asleep, it was out of exhaustion. But the hours I got helped surprisingly much. I'm feeling reasonably alert. Today, I'm sitting in R's living room writing this. I'm still shaken, so it's nice to have people around me. Going forward, I'm focusing on my job, my friends, and building a new life without her. Right now, I'm looking forward to getting the divorce finalized. I hope it goes fast. If anything else happens, I'll update you. Update 8. My divorce is finalized at last. It all worked out in the end. She had threatened to make trouble, but in the end, she signed. We divided everything evenly, and for about a month now, I've been single. My apartment feels like home now, and most of the negative feelings I had have disappeared. Occasionally, I get flashbacks, like when I hear certain songs or smell certain scents. For example, I walked behind a woman wearing the same perfume as my ex-wife. It almost made me feel sick. I've heard from mutual friends that she's still seeing the guy she went to that Friday. They have some kind of friends with benefits arrangement now. I think those of you who said she would have been unfaithful behind my back if I'd stayed were probably right. I'm so glad I got out of this, and as for my love life, I'm in no rush. I've been out on a few dates, and a week ago I had a blind date with a woman that C recommended. What a woman. Razor-sharp intellect, humor, beautiful, single, and educated. She ticks all the boxes, and she doesn't know my ex-wife. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but she feels like a very good prospect.
If you liked this story, please subscribe and give us a thumbs up. It helps a lot, and you won't miss out on any future stories. Take care and live your best life.